Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMc Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMc Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast platform and write a review. Those reviews help the show. Also, follow the GSMc Music Podcast on Twitter at GSMC_music. Now let's get into some music news. Neil Peart, Neil Peart, the legendary drummer and lyricist from Rush, died at 67 years old after a battle with brain cancer. The Golden Globes aired Sunday, January 5th, and Elton John's I'm Gonna Love Me Again from the Rocketman soundtrack won Best Original Song. It beat out Beyonce's Spirit from Lion King, Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, Cynthia Erivo? She's a dope performer. I really need to figure out how to say her last name. Erivo, I believe that's it. Cynthia Erivo's Stand Up from Harriet, and Taylor Swift and Andrew Lloyd Webber's Beautiful Ghost from Cats. Now, apparently the tabloids are making a bigger deal over the fact that Elton John stumbled on the stairs on his way to accept the award. Now, I know he is a Sir Elton John, but homie is still human. Therefore, he stumbles like the rest of us. So let's instead marvel over the fact that the last time he received the award was for the Lion King's Can You Feel the Love back in 1995. Now, additionally, Rocketman star Taron Egerton walked away with the award for Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. And in our final piece of Elton John news, he announces that he is donating $1 million to the Australian fire relief. Now, Ozzy Osbourne kicked off 2020 with his new visual, Straight to Hell. The artist had serious health issues in 2019, which is probably why he's sitting in the entire video, but it doesn't take away from the fiery images surrounding him. Now, his wife and manager, Sharon Osbourne, revealed that he plans on going on the road this year with his No More Tours 2, and his album Ordinary Man will feature recent Golden Globe winner Elton John. Now, the Bonnaroo Festival that takes place June in Manchester, Tennessee, has announced its 2020 lineup. The festival that historically includes jam bands has done a 180 from its 2020, has done a 180 with its 2020 lineup. The lineup includes Lizzo, Tool, and Tame Impala headlining. Now, Lizzo is the first female to headline. The rest of the lineup is a lot more contemporary and urban than past festivals, with Run the Jewels, Megan Thee Stallion, DaBaby, and Nelly scheduled to perform. Rascal Flatts announces their farewell tour in conjunction with their 20-year anniversary. The tour kicks off in June and runs through October. Additionally, the band promises new music this year. Now, book clubs are becoming increasingly popular in the hip-hop community. The late Nipsey Hussle was a bookworm and often mentioned the books he was reading or had read in interviews and songs. So a fan compiled a list, and it went viral after Nip's passing. Now, almost a year after his death, there are 4 chapters of the Marathon Book Club that meets once a month in Oakland, New York, Washington, D.C., and L.A. Now, artist No Names, so her name is No Name, No Name's book club grew tremendously in 2019. It's an online IRL community dedicated to uplifting people of color and their voices. They have 6 chapters with plans on continued growth. Now, rapper DaBaby was arrested and released on battery charges. He spent 48 hours in jail after members of his entourage allegedly attacked a concert promoter who reportedly shortchanged DaBaby on a $30,000 payment. After only receiving $20,000, DaBaby's crew allegedly beat and robbed the man of an iPhone 7, $80, and a credit card before dousing him with apple juice. I'm sorry. Dousing him with apple juice, Ferodo, apple juice, not orange juice. Why apple juice? Now, how hilarious is this story? That's some straight comedic gangsta-ish right there. Now, DaBaby insists none of it is true when he addressed it on his social media pages. Now, rumor has it that rapper Lil Wayne is engaged to Australian model Leticia Thomas. Now, how Lil Wayne continues to pull beautiful women and amazing women, I will never understand. Because I know it isn't his looks. At least, in my opinion. Nah, it ain't just me. It ain't his looks. It can't be his looks. So he must have an incredible personality. Which, I don't know him. I love him as a performer, as a rapper. Like, dude is legendary. But you don't really get to see most of his personality. So maybe it's just his lyrical skills alone that's wooing these women. I mean, maybe dude is just rapping 24/7 to keep his relationships going. Like he does everyday household activities while rapping. Like he's sweeping the floors, talking about Young Money. I have no idea how he's pulling them, but congratulations. Congratulations to Lil Wayne and Leticia. Now, in dance news, Griffin has been added to Wynn Las Vegas roster of exclusive DJ residents for the 2020 season. And Mariah Carey celebrated the landmark success of All I Want for Christmas Is You, which earned the Queen of Christmas her 19th #1 Billboard Hot 100 hit. Coachella unveiled its 2020 lineup on Thursday evening, with headliners Frank Ocean, Rage Against the Machine, and Travis Scott landing top billing. Now, Surviving R. Kelly Part 2, The Reckoning, premiered on Lifetime. 1 year after the initial release, a 3-part followed up its premiere. Now, I didn't watch Surviving Part 1. I had no idea there was going to be a Part 2. I mean, I'm pretty well informed on what's going on with R. Kelly. I saw the sex tape of him peeing on that young girl way back in the day. I used to live in Houston, and I was in a club, and they were literally playing it on the screens. I had no idea what was going on. I'm just dancing, getting my groove on, to the windows, to the walls. And this image is playing, and I'm like, what is this? So I was turned off from then because, I mean, this was like prior to going viral. This is when people literally were like, had bootleg DVDs that they were passing around. And it was all over the place, and I was disgusted. And I canceled R. Kelly way back then. So no need for me to like rehash all of this. But for those of you who are interested in the story or have absolutely no idea what's going on, you might want to check out Part 2. So, yeah. But apparently it's 3 parts, and it's basically what's going on with R. Kelly now. So it's, him, the charges that he currently has, and him in jail. It's everything that they didn't cover in that first part. Hopefully there won't be a Part 3 because I'm sick and tired of this. Lock the man up, throw away the key. I hope all the women who were involved in this matter seek help, get help. If they can be hooked up with some free counseling or something, that would be dope. Because he messed up a lot of minds. But you know what? That's a wrap on our music news. When we return, we'll get into some new releases.
always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMc Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Now it's time for new releases. Now, if you haven't seen Zed and Kehlani's Good Thing video, you might want to check it out. It's fun, has dope choreography, sprinkled with some laughs. Just a tip. As if the song wasn't already a hit, they recently released a remix package with young Swedish producer Ozrin, Dutch veteran Mark Benjamin, Grant, and Solji doing their reinterpretations of the songs. Clearly, you can tell by me trying to pronounce these names that I have no idea who these people are, but I'm pretty sure it's dope. Kesha's fourth studio album, High Road, is set to release January 31st, and the North American High Road Tour launches this spring. Halsey's Manic album is scheduled for a January 17th release, and that following Saturday, she will be the musical guest on SNL. Tickets for the North American leg of the Manic tour kicks off in June, and the tickets go on sale January 17th. Now, albums that have dropped in 2020 include Brett Cassell's Now or Never, Aha Gazelle's 180, Selena Gomez, Rare, Georgia, Seeking Thrills, Lane 8, Brightest Lights, and Moneybagg, Yo, Time Served. Now on to the top 10 songs in the United States according to Apple. Rowdy Rich has the top 3 with The Box, High Fashion featuring Mustard, and Start With Me featuring Gunna. Number 4, Jack Boys Out West featuring Young Thug. Number 5, Mustard Ballin' featuring Rowdy Rich. Number 6, DaBaby Bop. Number 7, Lil Uzi Vert Futsal Shuffle 2020. Number 8, Lil Baby Woe. Number 9, Justin Bieber Yummy. And number 10, Juice WRLD and Young Boy Bandit. Juice WRLD, R.I.P. Now let's compare that to the top 10 songs globally. Rowdy Rich, The Box, sits at number 1 in the US and globally. However, Justin Bieber's Yummy is number 2 globally instead of number 9 like it is in the US. Now, if you haven't heard Yummy, that song just dropped in 2020, and it's been just greatly anticipated. Bieber fans are mad excited about this, and the song is dope. Now, added to the global list is Tones and I, Dance Monkey, at number 3, pushing Rowdy Rich's High Fashion and Start With Me down to number 4 and 5. Number 6 is Jack Boys Out West. Number 7, DaBaby Bop. Number 8, Mustard Ballin'. Now, what wasn't on the US list is Arizona Zervas, Roxanne, at number 9 globally. And number 10 is Lil Uzi Vert's Futsal Shuffle 2020. I have no idea. Futsal, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that. Now, what have I been jamming? Clearly not Futsal Shuffle 2020, because I don't even know how to say it. But I was recently introduced to UK rapper Stormzy and his Blinded by Your Grace Part 2 video that dropped in 2017. Now, I'm a Christian hip-hop head, and although he doesn't label himself as a Christian rapper, lyrics speak louder than labels. And those lyrics spoke to me. That led me to discover his latest album, Heavy Is the Head, which dropped late 2019. So I've been jamming that album. Standouts for me include Crown, Rainfall, Rachel's Little Brother, Do Better, Don't Forget to Breathe, Own It, featuring Ed Sheeran and Burna Boy, and Lessons. If you don't know Stormzy, he's like I said, he's a UK rapper, and from what I can gather, just looking up and doing research, like, he's major over there. Like, in the UK, he is a huge rap celebrity, and he's starting to become more global, have global appeal. So, definitely happy I was introduced to him. Now, for my Christian hip-hop albums, I'm working my way through Jerry Mana's Legend of Lotus Waver 3. It for sure jams, but I'm still identifying the standouts. Same with Aha Gazelle's 180. Now, Christmas Day, I was pleasantly surprised with Kanye West's Sunday Service Choir dropping Jesus is Born. I've carried that album into the new year. My standouts are Revelations 19:1 and Father Stretch. Now, if you are living under a rock or just have some extremely busy life where you just have no idea what's going on in the pop culture world, Kanye West made a gospel album last year, Jesus is King. To me, the album is fire. I love it. I do still jam it. But what really made it legit was the fact that he had this choir and he had this musical director that comes from the gospel world. So it wasn't just like Kanye was like, I'm just going to put together this gospel album and not involve any of the experts and pros and, people who are established in this genre and community. At least, he was smart enough to include them. So his choir is fire. And if you ever saw the Sunday service, whether live or just on YouTube, because YouTube has the entire service, and the service itself, I believe it's around 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer, but his Jesus is King album was just 30 minutes, something to that effect. So it's what happened to all these songs that were performed in Sunday service? Well, what happened to them is they're here on Jesus is Born. So this is strictly just the Sunday service choir and all the songs that basically didn't make Jesus is King. But it's not like they're throwaways because they were actually a part of the concert, the live show. And like I said, choir is dope. So if you need, if you like gospel or if you just need me to pick me up, some feel good music, this is a good album. Now, my throwback song is 702's I Still Love You, produced by the Neptunes. Now, if you're not familiar with 702, they were a female R&B group in late 90s, early 2000s. They come from Vegas, hence 702. But they only had a couple albums and they were amazing. But this I Still Love You, oh my gosh, the production, the beat is incredible. It's classic Neptunes. Neptunes is Pharrell. To all you new people who may have just now discovered Pharrell because of Happy. Nah, Pharrell been doing his thing for decades. And the Neptunes were the newest and greatest production team in the late 90s, early 2000s. And this song, it's so unique. Just, oh my gosh. And I still love you. So someone had sung that hook. I'm doing a play currently. And I was at rehearsal and one of my playmates just started singing that hook. And I'm like, 702, gotta download it. And so I just been jamming that song for the past week. But one of their, their first single was Stilo. And I like your stilo. And Missy Elliott is on the track, which Missy Elliott and Neptunes, those were my loves back then. Anything Missy Elliott, I watched just because it was Missy, or I listened to it just because it was Missy. So she's on that track. It's still a classic. If you want to, have a good throwback, look up 702, I Still Love You, and check out that Stilo as well. Now, I have my genres of music that my heart beats for. Those genres are rap, R&B, Christian hip-hop, and worship music. But I'm attracted to great music regardless of the genre. So that's why I like to know what you are listening to, what you recommend I should check out. I don't know much about EDM, and I was recently introduced to Borgore and the track Choke Me. Not a song I would have found on my own, but I definitely understand its appeal. The lyrics are kind of raunchy and explicit, but that coupled with its booming sounds add to the appeal. If you have a recommendation for me, hit me up on Twitter at GSMc_music. When we return, we will get into some music history.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMc Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. It's time for some music history. Garth Brooks. Yes, we doing this. Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks was born Troyell Garth Brooks, February 17th, 1962 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. His mother, Colleen McElroy Carroll, was a 1950s era country singer. The family had talent nights where all children were required to participate. Garth learned to play guitar and banjo and would casually sing, but his main focus was athletics. He received a track scholarship to Oklahoma State University. Garth Brooks' self-titled debut album was released in 1989. It peaked number 2 on Billboard's top country albums. In 1990, he released what would become his signature song and blue-collar anthem, Friends in Low Places. You know it. I got friends in low places. Don't know the rest. I got friends in low places. So, in 1990, that's when that was released off of his second album, No Fences. 4 songs off of that album, including Friends in Low Places, hit number 1 on the Hot Country Song charts. Brooks' live show set him apart from other country artists because he wore a headset that allowed him to run all over the stage and have high energy on stage. Now, as of 2019, Brooks is now the only artist in music history to have released 7 albums that achieved diamond status in the United States, surpassing the Beatles' former record of 6. Those albums are Garth Brooks, 10 times platinum, No Fences, 7 times platinum, Ropin' the Wind, 14 times platinum, The Hits, 10 times platinum, Sevens, 10 times platinum, Double Live, 21 times platinum, and The Ultimate Hits, 10 times platinum. Since 1989, Brooks has released 22 records. Brooks retired from recording and performing from 2001 until 2005. During this time, he sold millions of albums through an exclusive distribution deal with Walmart. In 2005, Brooks started a partial comeback, giving select performances and released 2 compilation albums. In 2009, he began Garth at Wynn, a periodic weekend concert residency at Las Vegas's Encore Theater from December 2009 to January 2014. Following the residency, Brooks announced his signing with Sony Music Nashville in July 2014. In 2014, he began his comeback world tour with wife and musician Trisha Yearwood, which ended in 2017. Brooks has been on the Hot Country Song chart every decade since the 80s. That's right, the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, and now the 20s with his single Dive Bar with Blake Shelton. Now, I just remember being a kid and watching Garth's live performance on TV. And yes, I remember him dancing about, skipping, running all over the stage with his headset. I don't know, I was a kid, so it didn't seem like odd and like unusual to me. Maybe also because he was really like the first country artist besides Billy Ray Cyrus that I really knew. So other artists, you know, coming from like the R&B rap world, everyone like wears headsets and dances around, you know, watching Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson. So that didn't look odd to me. But in the country world, like, he started that. But he just had that energy in that low places. That was my jam. Like, I don't know what just like drew like this little black girl to just really love her some Garth Brooks. I guess it was just like his stage presence just wooed me. Now let's move on to our next segment that I like to call Say What? Song lyrics. Say what? Song lyrics are basically the lyrics of songs that we grew up singing and never gave a second thought about what we were singing. But hindsight's 2020, especially with the Me Too and Time's Up movement. Also just culturally here in America, you know, we're more aware of prejudices, and as a society, we are trying to be more inclusive. So looking back at older lyrics can be jaw-dropping and also a humorous experience. So I saw a clip of singer Jon B performing on the Soul Train Awards, and that triggered me to take a trip down memory lane. I had a huge crush on Jon B. I thought he was so fine and had all of his albums. My favorite song of his features Tupac, Another Man, that I thought was fine and in love with. I guess I was just boy crazy, huh? But the song is Are You Still Down? So I thought I would listen to it, and driving in my car listening to the song, I was stunned by the lyrics, just taken back. And how it sounded like the woman that he speaks of on the track never consented to having relations with him. It sounds like she only did it to please him. So let's examine these lyrics from 1997. Verse 3 says, remember that evening? Yeah, are you still down? I know that you were too scared to go all the way, please. But you did it to please me. Crying it was raining when you gave it to me. The more I see, the more I feel inside. And I know one thing, I'll make it back to where you can fly. Watch the time go. Don't cry, tomorrow is a better day. What you crying for? Let me dry your eyes. Think you're burning out? The chorus with Tupac says, girl, it's all right, babe. Come on. Are you still down? 'Cause it's there in your eyes. Don't you want me? Don't you want me? Are you still down? Okay, so there are like lyrics that I highlighted. Like, I know that you were too scared to go all the way. All right. So you knew she was too scared. But you did it to please me. So you knew that she was too scared. You knew that she didn't want to do it. She did it for you, to please you. Crying it was raining when you gave it to me. So it's crying. She's crying. So we knew she was too scared. We knew that she did it to please you. And she cried the whole time. And as she's crying, what are you telling her? Don't cry. Tomorrow's a better day. And then you ask her, what you crying for? Dude, you know what she crying for. She did not consent. That's why she crying. And then he says, girl, it's going to be all right. So you are inside of her. She's crying. She did not consent. You ask her what she's crying for, even though you know what she's crying for. Then you say, girl, it's going to be all right. Because it's there in your eyes. She never consented. It was her eyes. Nothing verbally came out and said, I consent. He's going, it's there in your eyes, girl. No, sir. No, sir. That is not consent. You do not see something in somebody's eyes and be like, oh, that's a go. No. So, Jon, your lyrics indicate that she never wanted you and that she was never down. There was no consent. You forced yourself onto her, and then you made this sweet, classic song about it. Now, I mean, this may not be like something to laugh about. Because essentially, I mean, I don't want to be too harsh and really say this, but essentially, Jon B raped this chick. And the song is a classic. Like, still, like, if you grew up in the 90s or you just love you some 90s R&B, everybody knows the song. They're going to be singing it. So for decades, we've been singing a song that gave zero consent. So, if you have a say what song, please tweet us at GSMC_music, and you just may hear the lyrics on the show. Now, I definitely appreciate your time. I thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to our podcast. And if you feel compelled, write a review. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.